wind screams past my helmet and tears at my leather jacket. The powerful engine under me growls like a beast unleashed. Racing down the asphalt, I feel unstoppable, invincible. Each twist of the throttle and turn of the street feels like an invitation, a challenge daring me to seize the moment. I'm invincible, a warrior astride my iron steed, the world blurring into colors and sounds, all fading into the background. The setting sun bathes everything in golden glory, and as I plug into the energy of the ride, I know, nothing can touch me here. Each mile is a celebration of freedom, a rebellion against the mundane. I'm alive, electrified, and utterly unstoppable. Nothing can hold me back. This is where I belong. I don't remember seeing the pickup my bike slammed into. Shooting over the handlebars of my Yamaha 650 Special and flying through the air like a missile, straight into the unforgiving side of the stop sign running pickup. My face bones broke. My helmet cracked. That fateful motorcycle crash flipped my world upside down, plunging me into a relentless journey of pain and recovery that stretched for decades. It wasn't just the simple healing of broken bones, it was a raw, emotional battle against despair, fear, and the nagging question, would I ever feel whole again? Each step forward felt weighty, marked by grit and resilience. This isn't just my story, it's a testament to the indomitable human spirit forged in the fiery furnace of being broken and submitting to a goal-oriented healing process. Hello fellow students of life. I'm Al Fox. Do you ever feel challenged by circumstances in your life? I sure have. Everybody gets challenged. If you haven't been challenged yet, hold on, it's coming. When your challenge gets here, the most helpful mindset I've ever found is to focus on what you have, not what you don't have. Have you ever felt completely hopeless? If you haven't, I hope you never do, but if you have a good idea how I felt when the neurosurgeon who operated on me told me I would never walk normally, talk understandably, or drive legally. How could I live if I couldn't even do normal things? Fear gripped me like eagle talons gripping a still twitching rabbit. Do you have worries that you can't seem to let go of? Worries can feel like insurmountable barriers looming over us like a storm cloud ready to unleash chaos. Seeing worries as friendly challenges can help us go from saying, I can't, to saying, how can I? This attitude shift reshapes our mental landscapes. It's like gearing up for a game, for which you feel ready, rather than a scary battle. Each obstacle transforms into a puzzle waiting to be solved. Embrace the thrill of tackling challenges head-on. After all, growth often dances on the other side of the challenges we face. An example of this is Simon Cowell, who is recognized worldwide as an entertainment icon responsible for numerous popular household names, including the globally renowned Got Talent show. What American hasn't enjoyed watching at least a little of America's Got Talent? The host, Simon Cowell, wasn't an instant success. He's made hundreds of millions now, but at 30, he had to move back home into his childhood room. The internet is full of similar inspiring examples in every field imaginable. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, Google or another search engine can show you unlimited, authentic, and inspiring stories. Sports heroes, musicians, medical people, scientists, business people, all kinds of people, both men and women. Inspiration comes in all shapes. Getting consistent inspiration is an essential part of who you become, especially if you want to become more than a typical, ordinary person. Okay, that potentially helpful information was on my mind. Let's get to the value that I'm here to share. The crash that sank me into a 31-day coma happened on May 7th. The grogginess following my 31-day coma kept even semi-clear thinking out of reach until very late July. By then, I'd woken up enough to notice I couldn't move half my body, and I couldn't talk. Most of my long-term memory was in place, so I still knew the alphabet, which meant I could point out letters on an alphabet board they set up for me to communicate with. My mind was surprisingly clear. The neurosurgeon who operated on me explained to my parents that both my memory and my planning ahead functions would be minimal. A specific example he mentioned was that, if I had played chess, I would most likely not be able to remember how chess pieces moved. He was surprised when Dad told him that we were playing chess and that I was even able to plan, not like before, but enough to strategize some. One aspect of my head injury that had a significant impact on my life was that my hypothalamic gland was ruptured. What makes this important is that these glands regulate the intensity of our emotional responses to events beyond our control. It's been over 40 years, so there may have been others that I'm not remembering right now, but the first time I remember was when I was finally awake and cognizant enough to realize that half my body wouldn't move. Another frightening realization was that I couldn't speak a single understandable word. It was hard to go from feeling like everything's going my way to feeling like everything's coming apart, nothing's going my way. In hindsight, this wasn't true at all. Lots of things were still going my way. First, my mom, being a cardiac nurse, with the special qualities of a nurse, as well as those of a loving mom, was very active in my life, so that was going my way. Another thing that was going my way was that Dad, a consultant for the FDA, worked downtown Seattle and would often come up to the hospital to have lunch with Cheryl and me. My fiancée, Cheryl, spending so much time at the hospital visiting with me was also something that was going my way, as was the fact that I was under 25, so my hospital bills were all covered by my dad's insurance. My point is that focusing on negativity after my crash doesn't consider any of the positive things I still had. The point is that if we waste time focusing on our fears or our regrets, we will not achieve as much as we otherwise would. The hugeness of the lifelong consequences blocking my forward path became face-to-face clear that morning when the neurosurgeon concluded his requested visit to my room by looking in my face and telling 19-year-old me that I would not ever be able to drive again, that I would always need a cane, and that I would never be able to speak clearly. I freaked. This can't be happening. Frantically, I threw the bedclothes aside and pushed my paralyzed leg off the bed with my good leg. My feet hung a few inches off the linoleum. I slid off the bed and charged forward. Of course, my left foot didn't follow my right, and down I went. I have no idea where I thought I was going. Looking back, it's surprising how immature and crazy I was. A few nurses appeared and helped me back into bed, but as soon as they turned around, I climbed back out and fell to the floor again. This seems incredibly ridiculous, but I know it happened. I was there. This time, they put me back in bed and strapped me in. Pretty soon, everyone who could leave the room left. I was alone with my thoughts. I didn't realize it until years later. I had to mature and get past the shock. Once I did, I saw the surgeon's words as challenges and goals to aim for. Gradually, his words became a highly valued source of motivation toward my goals. Please note that individuals in rehab situations like mine can improve their condition through properly regimented exercise. We are different than a person with a broken leg or appendicitis. I just wanted to point that out because I don't need any geniuses suing me because they hurt themselves trying to walk off something like a torn hamstring. Every day was a fresh battle in my rehab journey, but I finally got my eyes far enough off my rehab challenges to focus on the rehab prize. Achieving rehab goals isn't just about physical recovery, it's about reclaiming your life. With every step, I discovered resilience I didn't know I had. It was a newfound strength. My first rehab goals were learning to walk again using a walker. I remember those first shaky steps, my heart pounding with trepidation and excitement. I clutched the handles tightly, feeling their support, each step a heartbeat of hope. My physical therapist guided me meticulously, reminding me of the importance of stability.
You've got this, Al. Just a few more steps.
Like light bulbs in a dark tunnel, Cheryl's cheering my victories along the way made the long struggle easier. Intermediate goals are an important key. It wasn't long before I was ready for my next goal, moving to a quad cane. The day I picked it up was exhilarating. I practiced in the therapy room, feeling my weight shift as I moved across the floor. What a strange sensation. With the therapist and eventually Cheryl by my side, loosely gripping a safety belt around my waist. Finally, my therapist started me down the hall. My confidence blossomed. Cheryl clapped. Her cheer made me feel good.
You're unstoppable, Al. But remember what you said, the therapist said, it's not just about not falling, it's about not looking like you're about to fall.
My therapist nodded at her. Yeah, I said. Maybe I should be cool with using this cane for a while. Mastering pronunciation and voice projection, in other words, talking again was another high-priority goal I needed to reach. Talking comes with its own set of challenges. I used to speak with such ease, and now every word feels like lifting a weight. My speech therapist provided exercises for correct, or at least better, pronunciation. I practiced like an actor rehearsing for a big role. I'd read aloud, focusing on correctly pronouncing difficult words. I found joy in small successes. Cheryl listened intently. Each practice was a step towards my former self. Another challenging part of rehab has been working on my paralyzed arm. I've lifted weights since I was 12, and having a paralyzed arm set me up with more goals I never expected to have. Set ambitious and daunting goals, such as lifting light weights and practicing gripping textures, which was. The sensation of my fingers moving, even just a little, was exhilarating. With Cheryl's encouragement, I'd channel my inner warrior, fighting through the frustration. You're getting stronger every day, she exclaimed, reminding me that I'm not alone in this. With every goal achieved, I'm not just recovering, I'm rising. Cheryl's unwavering support fuels my fire, and each moment in rehab is a step closer to the life I cherish. This is not just a journey, it's my renaissance. I'm remaking myself. Life, in your case, or in my case, rehab, is not merely about succeeding or not. It's not even about surviving or not, it's about conquering every individual challenge that tries to bring us down. This isn't a catchy phrase, it's my reality. My goal-seeking journey began after a gnarly motorcycle crash left me grappling with hemiplegia, a fancy way of saying one side of my body is paralyzed. Paraplegics are paralyzed in their legs, quadriplegics in their arms and legs, and hemiplegics like me are paralyzed on our left or right sides. My paralyzed left side was about as responsive as a popsicle stick. Instead of succumbing to this fate, I made it my mission to walk again. I set my sights on a seemingly simple goal: walk well enough with a cane to ditch it entirely. It sounds like a small goal, but it was more than just a physical challenge, it was an epic battle against my limitations. Picture this: I'm out on a chilly evening, the sun barely dipping below the horizon, and I'm ready to tackle the world, or at least my block. I gripped my cane like it was the last lifeline in a rough ocean. Every step was a negotiation between my willpower and my body's rebellion. There was this one trip around the block that's carved into my memory. Halfway through, I lifted my cane off the ground, holding it aloft as if it were a trophy. I wasn't showing off, I was telling the universe, I've got this. I was determined to reach a specific point without touching my cane to the ground. This time, it happened to be a crack in the sidewalk. When I did it, the victory felt real. That's when an older guy, never met him before, called out from his porch. "Hey, you okay?" I could hear the underlying concern laced within his words. "Oh yeah," I said. "I'm doing good." When he heard me, he stood up, the squeak of his old aluminum-framed rocking chair fading into the background. I felt a wave of tension. The way I sounded must have triggered something in him. He mumbled something about "blasted drunks" as he shuffled inside. The screen door slammed behind him. I shook my head, muttering to myself, "I'm not drunk. Why would I drink? I can walk like this for free." It's absurd how quickly judgment descends like a dark cloud when you navigate the world differently. That wasn't the only moment of confusion I faced. In speech therapy, every session felt like scaling a rocky mountain. I was determined to reach new heights of clarity, yet the obstacles felt insurmountable at times. I vividly recall sitting at a cafe with a colleague who was nice enough about it, but there was this moment when I struggled to say, "Coffee." Her polite smile faltered for a heartbeat, a flicker of confusion flashing on her face. I felt the blush seep into my cheeks, embarrassment prickling at the edges. Another time, a cashier couldn't quite catch what I was saying. I mean, talking shouldn't feel like participating in a game of charades. Being misunderstood is like wearing a cloak of invisibility, it separates you from everyone else. Yet amidst this whirlwind of frustration, there was a moment of sheer beauty that caught me off guard. I met a young teenager, maybe 13 or 14, grappling with his own speech difficulties. He wore the anxiety of every misunderstood word like armor, a fortress of fear keeping him isolated. We sat side by side at a community event, both feeling our words slip and slide like fish out of water. Drawing on my own experiences, I shared stories about how I struggled with embarrassment and pressure in similar situations. The look on his face was a blend of confusion and hope, a potent mix that might unlock something inside him. When he expressed himself a bit more boldly after our talk, it felt like I had helped him shed some of the world's weight. My heart swelled with pride, a rush of warmth flooding through me. For a moment, we were two warriors, battling our own demons, breaking down barriers together. The smile he wore was infectious, it ignited something deep within, making my journey worthwhile because, in helping him, I found strength I didn't know I had. With each stable, steady, cane-assisted step, every understandable word I share, and the silent victories that light up my path, I'm reminded of my purpose. I am not just about walking and talking again, I'm all about reclaiming my narrative and helping others along the way. I won't let society's judgments, be they from porch-sitting strangers or bewildered cashiers, define my existence. Every day, I move toward my goals, build relationships, live confidently, and prove that weakness only briefly hides resilience. As I continue to move forward, I know one thing, this journey is not mine alone. It's a space for others to join, fighting their own challenges, stretching toward their own goals. There's real power in working together. Teamwork makes the dream work.